Hello, people. Sorry we're late, but as you can see, we're a bit light-handed today, and we're waiting George's arrival imminently. But it is what it is. Welcome to the most hated club in England today, Arsenal FC, and welcome to a shithouse 0-0 win. I'm gonna say that again: a 0-0 win. 10 men, doesn't matter. Cry as much as you want, rivals, because it's hilarious. The reaction I've had today. I'm hearing all sorts. It's been a very funny day today, and a little bit of just logic missing from the narrative today. And yeah, it's mush. You're right. It's a two-man thing. We're waiting for George, so, but for now, it is what it is. Yesterday was a fun day, and Jesus Christ, that was a mental performance. 5 at the back, shithousing it. Takumi Minami, no, getting that goal. He's not getting that goal. Ben White smiling at him vociferously. Brilliant scenes. I'm just loving this hatred. I'm loving this. I'm loving this energy that's around the club. Everyone seems to want to come for us. It's nice. It's nice to see we're not getting little brothered anymore by Liverpool and Man City.
They can't do it because we're performing against them now.
Yeah.
And close or relatively close, not as close, but close to them in the table with the points and the positions. Obviously, none of us expect, or actually Z expected a draw.
Yeah.
None of us expected like a 0-0. I thought it would either be one way, like they're gonna win, or we're gonna perform great. And I think it was more the latter than the former. I think obviously the performance was very good despite the red card, which actually hurts us in the moment. Before the performance, you kind of like forget about the red, but it actually hurts us a lot with what's coming up, like with the games Sunday and next week, potentially Sunday and next week, because we want the game.
Well, we don't know about Sunday, do we? It's a lot up in the air. A lot of white middle-aged men are getting very angry at us. So
we finally filed for a game to be postponed. Do you think it'll be postponed?
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be postponed. Mr. 5 Yard Bus is on his way. He's been called into a meeting. I think he's going to be here literally any minute. So don't worry. He'll be here to talk about 5 yards. So, but in terms of Sunday, I don't think we have enough men. And the only way that there would be enough is if we did sign Arthur today and ESR was fit and Tommy was fit. And I don't see why the club would say, oh, yes, no, everyone who is questionable or 50-50, yeah, we'll say they're all fit. Yeah, 100%. Whatever you say, Mr. Premier League, sir. Let me tip my hat to you. Please. Just let me beg for forgiveness from doing nothing wrong. No. If there's an opportunity to postpone the game because we have so many players out, I don't see why we wouldn't take it. Every other team's taken it. The one time when we had all these tests positive, no one gave a shit. So why would we give a shit now? We were forced to play that game.
Yeah,
against Brentford.
And Chelsea after.
And Chelsea. I mean, no one gave a shit then. It was all laughing and 20th, bitches. No.
No. Being 20th was a bad time, man.
Bro.
But honestly, obviously, Everton and Leicester got postponed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to post it in a second. That
wasn't fully about COVID. It was also with injuries and stuff. I think Burnley's game also got postponed.
No, but don't forget Burnley are Brexit club, okay? Brexit means Brexit, okay? They can get away with these things. White is right, okay? Relax.
White is right.
White is right for Burnley FC.
Yeah, Burnley versus Leicester is postponed.
Yeah,
this weekend, and then Everton versus Leicester. I think that's next week. It's postponed as well.
You know what I find funny about Burnley is they found Cornet, and they like him, so they're just like, let's get another. We need to find.
Yeah, they didn't want AFCON. They didn't want AFCON. But like with the Liverpool game, for me, like obviously 0-0 is kind of is better than what that's probably our best Anfield performance
Oh, 100%,
in a
100%.
very long time. Like despite the scoreline, in fact, even the scoreline, like it's our best Anfield performance
Yeah. Like
in
even
like
like in like the
a
4-4
very long
days,
time.
or like, you know what I mean? Like we've had so many crappy score lines there. The fact that we
Mm.
came away with a win. I mean, not. I mean, I'm calling it a win. I don't care what people. It's a 0-0 win for me. We're 10 men down. It's just yeah, we did hear about what happened to Alba. I'll discuss that in a bit with George when he comes. But
Yeah, we
hope
were
he's better
down
soon.
in what, the 24th minute.
Yeah, Xhaka went.
Xhaka. What did
Xhaka.
you what did you think about the red card when you saw it?
I mean, it's quite because the thing is, if it was called for dangerous play, which is what it wasn't, what it was said in the post match. It
No,
was
it's
last
for
man,
it was for stopping the
preventing a
ball.
goal scoring opportunity, right? So then you have to take into account: is Jota going to control it? Can Ben White cover? Is Ramsdale going to get there? I think there's too many variables to say, okay, 100% definitive red. It just looked very bad. But if they're going by their own law and saying what they're saying, then it's a bit.
For me, it was a immediate red light. When I saw that, I was like,
Yeah, in the
I
moment,
was like,
100%.
ah, shit. I was like,
Yeah. In the moment,
we
when I
don't
saw
need,
it,
we
when I
didn't
saw it
need,
was yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't
When I
need to add
yeah,
another disadvantage to what we have with
yeah, 100%.
already like not having a lot of our men. At the red card so early was like it was guaranteed we're playing 70 minutes now with a man down, and obviously
Yeah,
like we respond very well in these situations, like getting a man down. Like Chelsea away, we drew 2-2.
City.
City last was it? It wasn't even last week. It was 2 weeks ago. City
Yeah,
two
time
weeks
flies, man.
ago. We performed very well even after the red card, and apart from that bozo moment at the end of the game, we performed very well. So even getting the red card, I wasn't like worried. I just thought he's made it harder for us to get a not a point, but like something to take to the Emirates. I think obviously it's going to be a 2-game ban because he's already had a red
He's
card
already
this
out of red.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, let's talk about the red card, because leading up to it, we could see. I mean, the team looked very nervous starting out. Lokonga was spraying balls about. I think a lot of
Ramsdale
Ramsdale. I
goes
think this
down
is
by
Ramsdale's
Henderson.
worst game.
It's like Anfield is weird for him on the ball, I think,
Mm.
because obviously it's probably his worst. That's his worst on the ball performance, I think, this season. And there was a time where he got the ball on the edge of the box, and he had some time, and he still let Henderson close him down, and Henderson blocked his long ball, and he had to close him down and save it. But it, it's it's weird for him. Whenever we go into this low block, he's not
He's
as
not
confident.
worried.
Yeah, he's
I
not
don't feel
as
like we're
good
worried.
when he's not as good when we're doing a low block, which is what he's used to,
Mm.
which is kind of weird. But at the same time, when you're that good with your feet, you obviously prefer the space and prefer the options spread out. But I just think Anfield is might just be a weird stadium
I
for him.
mean, I think Henderson really set the tone for him. That getting chased down, and I think he just looked nervous and rushed on the ball.
Yeah,
In terms of what happened leading up to the red card, I mean, Tierney and Xhaka lose their duel in the opposition half. Henderson escapes, and the ball gets recycled to the other side, and then I can't remember who. I think it was I think it was Fabinho. I can't remember exactly who it was, but whoever it was hits a crossfield ball to Jota. And what the problem is that both of them lose their duel. Both of them, Xhaka is just physically unable to get there, and Tierney just gets beat in the
yeah.
opposition corner. And my issue was more with. I feel like Tierney was too comfortable there. I feel like he thought, okay, Granite will get there. We've done it. This was how it was last season, and he just let Granite go, and Granite went and did Granite things. So it was yeah. So yeah.
There
In
were
that,
like So for me, like obviously the first 24 minutes, which is a limited part of the game, but there were like chances on both sides. Like, there was even like
That
time
Saka pass that got misplaced. Like
by Laka where he could have put him 1v1.
Yeah. No, I think it was Nketiah, wasn't it?
I really think it was Laka.
Was it Laka? You know the one I mean. I'm talking when he came on the right and then it ran past and he just overhit it
behind him, keeping him onside.
And he overhit the pass. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Laka.
Was it Laka? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the thing I was thinking of. Like, you play him in there 1v1, pretty much early in the game, first half. That really changed the tie. I think. Obviously, we didn't take the chance, and he overhit the pass. Oh, and Nketiah. He overhit the pass, and what's his name? Alisson got the ball and claimed it. And then there were other chances in the game. Like Saka did what? Go past a couple men on the right side, and then his pass got blocked by Matip in the box. Liverpool also had chances early. I think in general, like regardless of the red, I don't think Klopp's game plan overall was the smartest thing to do. I really don't.
And to talk
obviously, you're gonna say.
I was just gonna say we can discuss this with our new marathon winner George VA_AFC as he comes in with his medal. How are you doing, George?
Good. How are you?
Busy as it seems. So
very busy.
Just talking about the red card, talking about Xhaka's red card, and how in the opposition half we lost our jewels, and then it just sort of recycled, and Kieran didn't get back in time, and then it just led to Xhaka, being Xhaka. Personally, I was saying that I don't. There's two. If it was if they were saying it for dangerous challenge and dangerous play, then I get it. But the red was for denying a goal scoring opportunity, and I feel like there's too many variables there. What do you think?
I mean, there's no doubt that there is an element of reputation involved here. And then at the same token, there's no doubt that what Granit did was not smart from a player perspective.
100%.
And so at the 2 points, it's not like he's maliciously gone in for any kind of aggressive intent. But guys, I don't know if you rolled it back. He looks behind twice before he makes his move. So it's not that he's unaware. This is not true. This is a poor decision. And when you raise your foot above the waistline, you give the referee a decision to make. And in all honesty, is it a dive? Does he feel the contact? Sure. Of course he does. Granit doesn't really kick him per se. But, when you do that kind of thing and he goes down, he's denied a goal scoring opportunity. And so for me, it's quite clear. And I don't have much sympathy. I do hear the reputation shouts. I think his reputation is in tatters. I think you do that with other people, and you basically have White behind, who was behind the idea or interpretation of, a denied goal scoring opportunity is changed 100%. But I don't have sympathy for a man who's a leader, who should know about those things and should trust his defensive unit. Like if I'm in that situation and I know I'm not able to come and to maybe reach that player, I am coaching my defense to go around Ramsdale, who is going to rush on and meet the man, cut the angle. Like if I'm athletically not able to catch Jota, which we all know we can't, it's decision-making in the moment. You should not be committing. Yeah, our players do this though, mate. But our players do this since the Mustafi days. Our players in that position have historically done that. Our experienced players have done a cop-out to take themselves out of the play, to protect themselves that isn't proper for the team. And when it keeps happening like that, it becomes really, really annoying. So that's why I'm like, on one hand, it's an orange. Let's be fair. Okay, and it is a reputation card. No doubt about it. But at the other hand, should he have done it or remotely been in that action? Hell no.
That's the problem with him is that obviously everyone knows his reputation precedes him, but he keeps giving the rest a chance to bring his reputation into the discussion, because other players may get the benefit of the doubt, but if you know and you've said yourself that I don't get the same benefit that other players would get. Why would you put yourself in like this grey area where your reputation is thought about? Like, he shouldn't. He essentially left the ground and kicked Jota near his chest or his midsection, and he missed the ball. Like, for me, he should have just kept running, and if he doesn't get back and let Jota take the shot, but obviously he took the red and they missed the free kick, so it was positive in that sense. But he just took himself out. He tried to take himself out of the situation and tried to take the easy way out, and it's just something he always does, and it's something he won't change. And when the players physically like that, they all do it. A lot of players physically like Xhaka all do this slide tackling like at the last death thing, just because they know they can't make it back. But yeah, like it's gonna keep happening if Xhaka's in these situations, which he will be in.
For me, it's clear. I agree with literally both of you, but I want consistency. That's all I want. If Xhaka's is a red card, how come Evans versus Alba wasn't a red card?
I'll be honest, mate. I struggle.
It's reputation. I get it.
Because I think they're two separate arguments here. And the thing that I struggle with is I can't give Granit Xhaka a pass when I, in the past, on this pod. No, I know you're not. No, I know you're not. But I'm just saying the discussion on this is very difficult to have when we've said that these experienced players continue to cop out and change this mentality, because I don't think it's just Granit. I think it's Cedric. Cedric has done the same crap. I think it's Holding. I think it's been Chambers in the past. Our players have done this in the past. And I want to separate it because I think people start getting their minds muddled with, is it a right or wrong decision by this? When the real talking point should be, why do our experienced players continue to take themselves out of the game? Whether that be in an attacking or a defensive sense, this is a common problem with Arsenal experienced players, and it's part of why the churn needs to happen. Now, at the same token, because I've been defending him, it doesn't mean that Grant is shit. It doesn't mean that he's not useful to the squad, and it doesn't change the fact that Granit and Thomas Partey are unquestionably our best and most consistent pivot. But he's had a moment of madness that I struggle to really defend. I don't appreciate the apology. I'm one of those that I'm really tired of the media apologies. Do your talking on the pitch, mate. And at the end of the day, you've done this before. This isn't a first, second, third, fourth, fifth time offense. We're talking double digits, the amount of times that I've seen you do this. So if you want, don't apologize to the fans, apologize to your teammates, and do the talking on the pitch. I'm tired of the showing people I'm sorry. And I think this can be attributed to many players, by the way. It's not just Granit. I'm just not a fan of that interaction. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Go on, Chris.
Yeah, I was saying it's not even like, obviously he does this, but it's not even like the first time this season that he's just done a cop-out. Like, even versus City, he pulled Bernardo. Even though you can say it's not a pen, he puts himself in the grey zone, and he won't get the benefit of the doubt. Like, Cancelo, he does this. Like, he puts himself.
It's not the first time either. Even he gets caught. He doesn't. My whole issue is even against Leeds. Do you remember? Yeah. Like, he got lucky. He got very lucky. Like, I'm tired of this. And what I want to make sure that people understand. Please tell me if I'm pretty sure you two both feel the same way. But for me, just correct me if I'm wrong. I appreciate what Granit Xhaka brings to our team, and he is, with Thomas Partey, our best pivot at this moment in time. But if we are going to take that next step into reaching the later stages of the Champions League, reaching and getting into a title challenge, he needs to be upgraded. And the minute we upgrade him is the minute we change our culture at this club.
Mate, I've said in the past pods, okay, and I'm going to repeat the statement that I keep saying on Granit Xhaka. He is the most important player at this moment in time for Arsenal's midfield. But we don't take the next step until Granit Xhaka is replaced in both role, but also on and off the pitch. And I think the biggest lesson that I took away from this game was Ben White taking that reins, that leadership reign. And, you know, he took that in terms of outcome. When Granit is out and he's doing those things and he's going onto the post-match interview, who, by the way, was the clear man of the match. It's very rare that broadcasters get that right. But Ben White was easily the best player on the pitch by a country mile. And he's doing that with his team. And he's leading in that way. And he's the primary driver. And they get a very good result, probably our best result at Anfield in nigh on a decade. You build rapport with the team. This is a dressing room passing of the reins. And this is what is so, so important for me. But again, I think both can be true, mate. Like, he's absolutely the most important player for our midfield right now. But Arsenal don't become consistent title challengers until Granit Xhaka, both on and off the pitch, is replaced. Both are true. Both are equally true. And I think that's why this discourse is so hard for a lot of people. But yeah, look, it doesn't surprise me because Ben White, I'm just going to do the narcissism thing. Freaking Varane and Ben White, the comparisons are absolutely ridiculous. And I'm here to take my winnings, not from you guys because you guys believe the same thing, but from everybody that felt opposite. I'm waiting to hear what are your thoughts on that. I remember there was one YouTube comment, which was fair, to be fair. That was like, how are you going to decide these defending or the fact that your claim is correct? I think it's quite clear, whatever metric you want to choose at this point. But Ben White has been sensational. I think that we should have a Ben White segment. He's the reason that this result happened, really, in my opinion.
George, before we move on past the red card, because me and CK were talking earlier, and we were talking about the way we were shaky coming out, Lokonga especially losing his jewels, losing the ball quite a bit. Was there anything in the first pre-red card portion of the game that stood out to you, or was it just like we saw with Lokonga?
Yeah, I think if you guys talked about Lokonga, I think that was probably the biggest thing, but also Ramsdale. It need to be.
Yeah, Ramsdale we talked about, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, I think then you guys pretty much covered it because the big thing for me was Lokonga was absolutely a pressing trigger, but so was Aaron, to be fair. And Aaron had a mare. It was his worst game in the shirt.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
And, he had a mare all game. And I think between both him and Lokonga, they were inviting the Liverpool press far more than it needed to be. And we didn't have a leader in the middle of the park, by the way, to put his foot on the ball and calm things down. And Granit wasn't doing that either. And so I think the biggest – look, lads, like I think when you watch Granit Xhaka, you know when he's going to have a stupid moment. And when I saw that there was no attempt for him to take leadership roles and he was letting Lokonga receive, despite being under pressure and clearly being targeted, I said, oh shit, Granit's in one of his moods, like immediately.
Yeah.
And it was because he wasn't taking ownership of tempo, which, by the way, he has done in the past. And that was the biggest reason for me why we were floundering. I think Cedric's an idiot, but we know this. And when he got injured, we kind of were given a lifeline advantage Arsenal. But Callum had some trouble in the first little bit. But you know what? I don't want to criticize him because he's one of those that totally switched it second half, in addition to Lokonga, by the way, who, if you were really doing ratings, had like a 3 out of 10 in the first half to legitimately a 9 out of 10 in the second half defensively, and totally changed things. But same thing with Callum. He really struggled when he first came in, but the lad's been out for so long, guys. Like, he hasn't played. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, bad Callum, because he kept going up. He didn't really hold his position. He wasn't getting the match sharpness stuff right in terms of when to engage with Robertson and when not to. But I really think, I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but Mikel's tactical decision from Granit Xhaka was the reason that we won that game. And it was the
literally because we were just coming off the red card. So
I was about to say,
perfect segue.
For me, like with Chambers, I think there was obviously the first 10 minutes he was on the pitch, he was very, very shaky, and they were getting these chances, like even the one where Ben White just nicked it off Firmino's feet from the Robertson cross in the left. And this was like first maybe 11, 15 minutes of the game where they started overloading on the left with Robertson's crosses, and that's the only way they were creating chances. And then Chambers was losing his duel with Robertson consistently till maybe the Xhaka red, and then he started winning the duel, I think, and then obviously improved the second half. I think I said it. I was saying it. Klopp was poor for
Out-coached.
me.
He was
The
out-coached by Mikel
Yeah,
Arteta.
he was. I think, obviously, I think he set up badly after the red card, but I think we set
I
up
don't think he
very, very
changed
well.
anything though, Chris. The
Yeah,
he
issue,
didn't.
and you know what was crazy? It showed this was Mikel's coaching coming out of party. Because what's the one thing that everyone criticizes Mikel? Not us, because I think we see these things, but what is everything that all of the other naysayers say? He doesn't make quick enough subs, and he doesn't recognize game state situations and change them enough. This was absolutely a case of Mikel Arteta coming out and being that coach where, guys, when he took it off and he changed it to a 5-3-1 instead of the 4-4-1, that many people do. When you get a red card, you take off a striker and you basically pack the middle, you add another defensive left wing, and you create a 4-4-2 block, and you just leave the guy up front. Mikel didn't do that. He changed it to a 5 at the back, and he put Rob Holding. Now, why was that such a genius move? And we all hate Rob Holding. Because what he did by putting him in the back was making Rob Holding the deepest defender, which takes care of his strengths, being a low block defender, and removed all progression responsibilities by flanking him with Ben White and Gabriel, who coincidentally made Callum and Tierney the wide outlets with pace behind them if they got outdone. So if Robertson or if Trent really wouldn't go on the outside, it was mainly Henderson, who can't run, which is why that mismatch was totally done.
That was, and just quickly, George, the fact that Klopp saw that mismatch and thought, okay, I'm going to have Hendo be the overlap, which is one of his major tactical decisions this year. I don't know why he's thought. I understand having Trent come into that half space and create from that half space, but having Hendo be your outlet is, I think, to put him up against Tierney. I don't understand it, and I think it's a major coaching
issue. He tried to put Nico Williams and he tried to put Curtis Jones in the middle to try to fix that outlet, which was the stupidest idea I've ever seen in my life, because now what you've got is an excellent 1v1 defender that can't outpace in Nico Williams, Tierney, and then behind him an excellent 1v1 defender in Gabriel when he should have been isolating our right-hand side with Callum Chambers. And it was stupid and brilliant from Mikel Arteta, because now you've got your two wing-backs right now that are effectively doing their best to go 1v1 with the wide outlets that characteristically they're going to lose one every single time. But he's put front-footed defenders to back them up. And it was just genius, and it leaves Rob Holding away from the action. When Rob Holding has to progress, you get Nottingham Forest. When Rob Holding has to defend in a low block, you get Liverpool. We have seen this, and it was just a brilliant decision because it puts everybody's best traits where they're best. He's got Martinelli and Bukayo Saka central. Once again, cough, cough. Yeah, they were pseudo midfielders, but these guys operate central. They operate central, and it is where they are best.
Arteta said it. They were midfielders for 70 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guys,
They were
it's
interiors.
logical because when they took out a striker, guys, just logically, Lokonga did hold his own, but let's be real. Martinelli and Bukayo Saka were absolutely critical in terms of making sure that midfield battle never got outnumbered. What Klopp has always done, we talked about it in the review to the last Liverpool game. The reason we lost was the entry pass into Thiago, right? And that ultimately, what that does is you outnumber the center zone, okay? What we did was we outnumbered the center zone. By removing a player and putting him in the back, we basically clouded the center and said, we go out wide, we trust our big, tall defenders to aerially dominate your weak, small attackers. And we're going to pack the center zone so you have zero option but to cross and inshallah, essentially. And that was the tactic from Mr. Superior Tactician Klopp. And yeah, I'm going to go in because it was complete outcoaching of the highest degree. And the last thing that I'm going to say is everybody that thinks that possession is how you control games, I'm sorry, but Mikel Arteta just showed you that possession isn't the only way to control a game. Off the ball movement, blocking passing lanes, and a low block controlled that game. Liverpool did not have a shot on target to the 90th minute, achieved 1 XG in a total of 90 minutes, 70 of which were against a 10-man Arsenal side that were not starting quality. So I would absolutely like to implore people with this super tactician that Klopp has, which, by the way, I've always said he has no plan A or B. Sorry, he only has plan A.
Yeah.
And he showed it with his subs with Nico Williams. He was like, oh shit, Henderson isn't doing it. So maybe I'll get a faster Henderson on the wide. Come on. There was no reaction. And sorry, Karen, I'm just going big because Karen Klopp wants to sit there and complain about COVID symptoms and other stuff when he doesn't talk about on the pitch. What was his response to us going 5-3-1 and forcing them wide? He had zero answers. Zero. And by the way, Martinelli didn't just become a midfielder. Mate, he was back at the right back. Where's the issue with Karen Klopp right now? You've got a player who was your left center mid in Martinelli, finding space in the right back and making a tackle at the right back position.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, mate. That's not tactic. That's desire.
You know, there's a couple of things because there's just things that I noticed. So after Xhaka did go off, the first thing I noticed was Matip. Matip was making these dribbles and just dribbling into nowhere consistently, just looking like a headless chicken. He was trying to go between Gabriel and Tierney and try to dribble and then cut, but he wasn't cutting. He was just dribbling, and he kept running out of it. He kept running out of space, and you're just thinking, shots outside the box, lack of any sort of creativity or any sort of guile in the final third, just complete, utter, as George said, cross and inshallah. It's just very much, it's a very, very much like a gormless and vapid performance from this Liverpool team. And I'm just going to say this because you're right, George. But the fact of the matter is, what we're not saying here is we have a back five here that won the Champions League and the Premier League. Henderson is their captain, who starts for them.
Fabinho starts for them. I'm sorry, but even Jota, like for me, so going into the game,
I mean?
obviously we know Thiago is not going to play because he injured or COVID or something. So he's not going to play. He's not going to play. And then we knew Salah and Mane aren't going to play. And obviously, and so it's Firmino.
Chris, can I ask you a question?
Starting. Go on.
Because I know where you're going with this. Tell me why Karen Klopp didn't put Minamino in the midfield, which he's done before, to replicate a Thiago or a Naby Keita role. I'm waiting for the comments.
That's what I was thinking, because when I saw Milner, obviously I didn't watch the game in real time, but when I saw Milner and Henderson, like he's kept them there for 60 minutes until we brought.
Who did he replace him with, by the way, Chris? This is Jones, and who was the other guy on the other interior that he tried to create a superior advantage? Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Sorry, love you, boy, but you can't hit a barn door if it was wide open for you from 10 yards out, let alone 30 yards out, and he makes the wrong decisions in midfield all the time. And so you're telling me, if we all can see it as novice analysts, how the blue hell did you, who's this superior tactician, not recognize it?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Because what annoyed me is that eventually his tactic, which isn't really a tactic, but in the 86th minute he decided, let's send Van Dijk up, and that's when they started. That's the only time they started causing issues, was when they sent Van Dijk up, and it was like 5v5 in the back line. So when they crossed the ball in, that's when they had the Minamino chance. But
it was a Gabriel mistake, mate. That was literally the only reason.
And Ramsdale had to come out and try saving.
And Ramsdale, but also I think Ramsdale, you know what he did? He got soaked up in the atmosphere. This is a huge learning curve.
I said it to Karen, the stadium. He asked me what was wrong with him, and also it's just something happened with him in the stadium. Like.
It's not great, by the way, but this is the one thing that Granit Xhaka has, is he feels a hero complex that he needs to solve everything. Aaron Ramsdale has the exact same mentality thing. And so when things were going wrong, he almost tried too hard to impress on the game, and he was making a lot of spirited decisions. Like, he shouldn't have come out the way that he did so many times to punch. You know, there was a time to hold and when he shouldn't have gone in. I don't think that specific scenario, because I actually think he had to come out. Gabriel did make a mistake, but, you know, it left him in no man's land for the Minamino, and thank God that boy can't shoot. But
they had a couple shots like that, like throughout the whole game.
Never that inside though, Chris. They had them all outside, but yeah.
They had it centrally and just flown over the bar, and it just calmed the pressure. I think.
But what does that tell you, by the way? Like, I want to push more because people think that this isn't planned. If you have your opposition taking 30-yard pop shots, what does that mean to you? They're frustrated by your low block. They see no opportunities, and they take the lowest
And
XG chances.
the same players. It was the same players. It was
Yeah.
consistently Ox and Matip taking these stupid central.
But mate, that should tell you that Karen Klopp's stupid tactics weren't working, and the players were saying politely, "F this, I'm gonna go long," because nothing else is working.
Even Robertson, he decided at a point in the game, I'm not going to cross anymore. I'm going to come inside. I'm going to come inside the left half space and try to cause issues. And then Jones did the same thing, and Martinelli dealt with him and tackled him and pushed him to the floor, which was like very good from him. But like, I think there was a point in the game where we just got very tired, and then that's how they created chances, because the same energy wasn't there. Obviously, that comes with a red card, but for us to get tired, for them to create chances and then feel like they should have scored in the end of the game was just resolute to me.
But lads, also like another like tactical point is, I loved that, you know, Bukayo Saka was world class, lads. Like, dear God, the amount of times that he got quadruple teamed in those things, and the guy's just inevitable. He still creates chances, but I think the five at the back allowed us to do was to spring with safety. And so what I mean, yes, like what I mean by that is, you know, I'm doing a really weird explanation, but this is like the three. Hold on, right? And if you've got one or two that go wide, okay, the back line can step up and fill in that three, because you've got a three at the back. You've got a numerical superiority with their attackers.
A 3-3-3.
Exactly. So it became a 3-3-3. And that is brilliant because Liverpool's space is always wide every single time. Whether they had their strongest or their weakest 11, Liverpool always killed. That's why Pepe, of all people, had a great game, even with Emery and with us, because you're talking about outlets out wide that have space. Okay? I just thought it was brilliant, lads, because that would allow you, both Martinelli and Saka, our most dangerous outlets, to cause havoc with the security that our central zone would never be outnumbered. Because once again, I want to tell everybody, that's how Liverpool succeed. Their press is good, whatever, but they overload the center. They even do it with Salah specifically on that right-hand side with, you know, Henderson and, you know, Trent. That's how they work to create these things, but they do it with central overload. And what was brilliant about us was even at 10 men, we didn't sit back. We allowed them to move up, but they moved up very precisely, and it was so mature. Like, Saka and Martinelli had to choose the exact moments when to spring, and they did it amazingly. Bukayo Saka is becoming world-class at this receive, use your body, and hold up. It's just, no one can do it. And the kid's like 5'11". He is almost 6 foot, but he's doing it against guys that are way bigger, way taller. And it's just world-class play. It is what it is.
Like Van Dijk started to get very frustrated with Saka because obviously you said they spring in this like 3-3-3 where Tierney and I forgot the right back would stay very wide and allow Lokonga to stay in the middle, and then them three would be like taking up the space in between each defender. So it'd be like Nelly in between Trent and Matip, and then obviously Laka in the middle and Saka on the other side.
But mate, the only time that they had joy, which was the last 5 minutes, legitimately added time, was the only time they had legit joy, because that's when the Minamino chance came. All the other ones were pop shots from 30 yards out, so forget that. But it only happened when those two got tired, which, by the way, Saka was out in those last 5 minutes. He couldn't run. Martinelli couldn't run. And it was because
Mikel picked him up off the ground. Like,
but that's also why, like, I want to give praise to Lokonga, but I do feel a little bit misplaced because of how much work those interior center mids, and I'll call them center mids, did to help that out. The one thing I really want to praise Lokonga for is he didn't step. In previous situations, when the wide outlets would vacate their zone, Lokonga would join them. He would ball watch. It was a very immature reaction where he would be like, I want to join in. And what's the one thing that a lot of your coaches always tell you about the ball? Don't follow the ball. Yeah. You're coached that between, you know, when you're yay high, right? And look, these guys are pros, but they have the same mistakes. And Lokonga used to vacate a zone, aka Brighton specifically, and Partey had to drop deep to understand not to do that. But Lokonga didn't do that. It was a very mature performance. He stayed in his position. He allowed his center backs to pop up. And like, Chris, we were saying, you got the 3-3-3. But if Lokonga didn't, you would have a 3-2-4. And why is that bad? Outnumber the middle. And we would have conceded.
Especially because the 3-2-4 would have been us wide. The two is very wide.
It's
they
compact. We wanted to keep our central compact. And one thing I do want to pick up on, because I don't think anyone's mentioned it, the way that we picked up runners, because they tried to move off the ball, but we kept our line very compact. We kept it straight. No one dropped. No one went too far up, but we tracked our runners very well, and they had no way to get through our line. And it wasn't just that we were compact and central. It was the fact that we were looking to make sure that they didn't have the opportunity to, pull someone out of position and create a run in behind. Everyone knew their job. No one vacated their zones, and everyone was on point. So that was my major takeaway from that block. The fact that it wasn't just that it was, okay, we're compact, but you know what? Maybe if we just wait, they'll slip up and we'll find a moment of ill discipline.
It was a very mature culture.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, our left-hand side was very industrial, and Tierney didn't get as much praise. Obviously, White was incredible, but I think Tierney and Martinelli's work off the ball or in defense,
and Callum Chambers in that second half, like the two wing options were incredible, meeting their markers, when to do it, when not to bite, when to chill, because also Callum Chambers was very critical to making sure that they switch sides. If you're really being, I agree with you, Tierney was incredible, but if you notice, Klopp, all of his subs were on the right-hand side.
Correct.
Because he felt that with Callum Chambers and Ben White, who was having a monster game, the only way that they were going to get through was down our left. That was his logic for putting Nico Williams and Curtis Jones, right? So, mate, they all deserve praise, but the one thing is that it was just so mature, and to do it at Anfield, I don't think is spoken enough. It's what this does is I sent out a tweet, right? And I was like, this, it embodies the cultural reboot, but the outcome solidifies the mentality foundation. And what I mean by that is a lot earlier in the season, people were commenting that it was an immature line. That was the reason that our midfield had some struggles, right? For me, I totally didn't 100% agree with that. I thought it was about decisions and physicality. But the one thing that you saw in this performance was that maturity. Lokonga didn't step, right? You had people filling into their roles. The rotations were completely correct, and they did it away at a top 6 club, not just top 6, a top 3 club, against a team and a ground that has been the worst ground for us in a decade. Anfield is the worst ground for Arsenal Football Club, period,
with
in
them,
the whole league.
But what's better for me is that they were full strength for what they have now.
For sure.
And we weren't.
That's
what solidified it for me, because even when we took off Martinelli, because he was absolute, and we brought on Tavares, Tavares performed very well in that left half space. Not Martinelli, sorry, Saka. Tavares performed very well in that left half space role, inverted. He was a bit more eager to go higher, and that caused us some problems 1v1, allowing Williams some of the joy that he got. But I think even Tavares was very decent compared to what he did in the past, that versus Nottingham Forest. I think in general, just the doors all over the pitch, everybody just consistency.
And there's not enough praise, mate. Sorry, just to back off on that, because Martinelli was the reason that they had a little bit more joy than others on the right hand. Bukayo was much more regimented in it, right? And that's also why Klopp was like, okay, crap, I can't go down the right, I'll go down the left in theory. But again, I think to show that level of range, that level of solidity in the low block at Anfield, and then to show the level of performance playing our way against City nigh on a week ago, shows the range of the coach that we have.
And we showed the low block versus City as well, because obviously,
of course we did.
30 minutes versus City. That's that. 30 minutes versus City in a low block, 70 minutes versus Liverpool in a low block.
I use this example facetiously because it's the most clear,
clear
consistent.
low block, 70 minutes.
And then the City was the most clear performance one.
Yeah,
but
both were
but
70
doesn't
minutes in a low block and
Yeah.
no goal conceded in
Exactly.
100 minutes. In
But
2
for
weeks.
me, when people are like, why do you believe in Mikel Arteta so much? Tell me another coach with that range of skill, because they are clearly two different philosophies. Let's make no mistake. People in the comments are saying we might have the best low block in the world or as close to Simeone. Might. I always say that we do. But anyways, that's neither here nor there, because how can you have the best of that one end of the spectrum? And then clearly with our City performance, no one's outplayed City that way. The other end. Tell me a coach that has got that with, by the way, the quality that he's working with. I'll sit there and I'll wait for the names. That is why, like, when we talk about managerial wise, he's got some stuff to do. But again, Mikel Arteta won us this game with his tactic, okay? And for me, this showed his managerial side, that people always rightly, there are some right cons and criticism to Mikel, but he should show you with what he did today, and that's why I'm so excited. I'm praising Mikel. I'm praising the entirety of the boys. I don't know about you guys, hate to be soft factor and all that bullshit, but I've never been more proud of this team. Like, I was sitting there beaming.
Two great performances against the two best teams in the league.
And
with like a red card in both games.
In inopportune situations. The biggest negative naysayers were like, can Arteta do it in inopportune situations? Well, there you go.
The one thing what I will say, right, is it is halftime. It is like we need to finish this. I can't be having this look at this and go.
Which, by the way, I felt that we were on the up 10 minutes prior to halftime. I think it was totally the red card, and then there was maybe about 5 minutes of difficulty. But from the 35th minute, essentially to halftime, we were on the up. We 100%. Had the more dangerous opportunities. Bukayo Saka was isolated on the right, and he had 2 1v1s. He actually should do better. If we're really being harsh,
he should have passed to Martinelli. Martinelli was very frustrated.
100%, yeah. No, rightly so. He should have passed.
Yeah, he should have. It was similar to that that Greenwood chance that kept going around where everyone was blaming Rashford.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. He should have passed across the box instead of trying to take him on.
You mean the one against Villa?
Yeah.
Look, lads, the one thing I just don't want to do too is as we talk, because I think we're probably going to talk about the second half now, and I do want to get into like a Ben White segment because he deserves his own segment. And
I think it's a good transition to the second half.
But just really quickly, Lee, respectfully, mate, this wasn't even a galaxy brain decision. This was a very calculated decision of Mikel Arteta, like we said earlier in the show, forcing
they took
them
time to make the sub. They didn't make the Nketiah sub immediately. They took like 5 minutes where we were playing like from the 23rd, when obviously the red was at the 23rd, and Nketiah came off in the 28th.
Exactly,
so
like it wasn't.
They were making a decision, him and Albert, of what to change.
Yeah, this wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. This was a considered approach with a considered change in game plan, mid-game, mid-first half, and it was completely Mikel, doing, and it worked a charm. It was beautiful. So for me, I just wanted to say it was very purposeful, and I hope with the tactics we've explained what we did, very purposely. It wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction, but yeah, I think it's a good transition to Ben White because personally, mate, like, lads, I think he deserves huge praise. And I said earlier on in the show why I'm so happy is I think that this was the transfer of the leadership reins. I've been looking for an outfield player to claim it because Ramsdale's been doing it from the back. But you do need a person on the pitch able to dictate that stuff. And
I will say, though, I feel like it's both our centre-backs. I feel like Gabriel has had games where
they all every single one of the youngsters for me have a level of leadership. But for me, our fans, we like to look at these visual factors, who yells the most. And so that's what I call it, and the one that yells the most is our leader. And so you got your narrative leader there. But I just feel like the way Ben White was controlling that game and how he was talking to the team, he's finally accepted that he's part of the team. Remember earlier on in the season, we were like, I can't wait for Ben White to feel like he's arrived. Yeah. Right now, it's still not his team. And, he's just doing things so he doesn't get caught, in a sense, very safe in possession. He doesn't believe he's arrived, even though he's here. I think he's arrived. Like, this is a performance for me that Ben White has arrived at Arsenal. And this is his back line. And I think it's just very, very important to do those things, because without Granit Xhaka, there was an opportunity for us to crumble, and we didn't. And a big part was him. And to do that less than 8 months into your career at a new club, it's just, it's crazy.
But it's what he does. I said it from when we signed him. It's what he does. He gets this one performance or his consistency, and then there'll just be this one moment where it clicks and everybody in the club just loves him. Leeds, Newport, Brighton. It's nothing new. He does it in every single league, and he did it now. Like, obviously, there had to be a period of, I have to give Gabriel and these other guys, it's their team. Like, I can't do.
You can't come in. It happens with anybody.
The Ben White stuff that I've been doing, the long switches and all the dribbling, when it's not my team. Like, I can't do it. And now he's fully embraced it. There's still a lot more to go in general play, I think.
Yeah.
But that's by far his best off the ball performance.
Ironically, mate, all of his advances are on the ball. Like, what I know he can
off
have.
The ball, this is
and between the lines, like, we haven't seen 10% of what this boy can do between the lines and firing it into strikers and stuff. Like, when he's there, he's there. But like, look, in terms of the whole leadership thing, that's why I think it was so important to talk about, because for me, Ben White is the key to that, and how he marshaled the back line to basically shut off their left, which for me was their goal. They all knew that Robertson was going to be the more dangerous wide channel, right? Like, when you compare between them and Trent was always going to be nullified without a runner to the right. Klopp knew this. I mean, he's an idiot because he didn't change it.
Because he changed it even this season to make sure that there was two consistent overloads to keep Trent free.
Yeah.
Because we knew Salah can escape space with the ball without it.
And Benjamin was very key to coming out and shutting down that left-hand side.
I don't think I'll ever be able to get used to that. I don't think I'll ever be able to get used to calling out Benjamin.
You have.
And it's not even just, and you know what it is for me, lads? Like, it smashes every narrative that Mikel and this team have been levied at this season. You know, and I'm trying to think. It was a beautiful day for narratives. Nuno Tavares, I thought he was ostracized and out of the squad, and he won't respond well to the embarrassment of what happened the game before. Bollocks. I thought that Mikel Arteta can't.
Let me quickly say this, George, because Nuno was stripped, ready to come on, told not to come on, then eventually came on, and it still didn't bother him, and he played great. So all this, just cry, people. I don't understand.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta can't do subs and respond to inopportune game state situations. Bollocks. Mikel Arteta isn't responsible for our tactical changes. Bollocks. We went from a 5 to a 4-4-1, from what people want to say, to a 5-3-1. That was on Mikel. This young squad are unable to push their line high and create rotation. Bollocks. Should I continue going on? Like, the narratives were beautiful. Now, this doesn't mean that we're in the clear. This doesn't mean that we're done. Now we've seen everything.
It does mean we're the best in the world, though.
But what it does mean is, for me at least, sorry, just to conclude, is we as fans need to be a lot more considerate about where this process is, because I can assure you it wasn't just, oh my God, it's suddenly here, something clicked. It's been coming for a while, lads. It's been coming for a while. And you finally got the outcome to match the process that we all were doing. And so for me, I couldn't be more proud. I think Klopp is ridiculous. I can't believe he hasn't got more criticism for being outcoached. If this was Tuchel,
I think Liverpool fans have given it to him. Liverpool fans.
I think they've given it to him, but half-heartedly, because they can blame Minamino for the consistent misses.
Which is ridiculous because, again, Minamino, if you're really being honest, should have been in midfield trying to outnumber us with his dribbling, not up front when he's ineffective against Rob Holding.
That's how he scored against us, if you remember, in the 1-1 Community Shield, where he was peeling off in midfield and just making these late runs where it's hard to pick him up, especially when we're going this 5-3-1 off the ball, keeping tight on the edge of the box, the 5, and then the 3 are more spread out. So if you put someone in between there, like just picking up between the lines and creating an issue between the lines, it just makes it harder for Lokonga. And I think obviously Lokonga performed well second half, but Klopp didn't make it harder for him. He should have picked out on the fact that the Congo was obviously more isolated now. There was more space next to him just because Xhaka's gone, but he didn't use it. I know it was poor from him. Like, he's been out coached a couple times this season with like Tuchel, obviously Pep, now us. Like, this isn't the first time Klopp has been out coached this season and
But
not
it's
responding.
because, mate, he doesn't
Moyes.
have a plan B. It's because he
Moyes
does
did it.
not
Yeah, even
have a plan
Moyes,
B.
he doesn't change.
I've said this for so long, and people think I'm just being salty. No, facts. A, we don't know how Tuchel would respond to a back four. To be fair to him, he's responded quite well. I really like his response. But we didn't know, and they were forced to a back three. Check. Karen Klopp does not have a plan B, and this is what makes the Liverpool change so difficult, because they've got an aging squad with no replacements bought for the exact players that they have leaving, with a coach, by the way, that has tried to copy positional rotation from Pep, but doesn't quite understand it, and is only set in one way of playing. And this is why when we talk about the elite coaches, why I think Mikel doesn't get the credit that he deserves, is that spectrum. How you can coach a low block with whatever formation you want to a high level, not just high, but elite level, and then similarly do what he did against City. Guys, the best coaches in the world struggle with that dichotomy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Klopp struggles with that.
Klopp struggles with that. But I think Pep, he's shown he can do it. I don't think to the same degree in a low block situation. I don't. But to be fair, to date, he's had more offensive potential.
He
But
hasn't
at
had to
least-
do it, though.
But
That's
at
the
least,
thing.
well, he hasn't. But even in any of his teams, he hasn't had to do it. But he can
No.
do it. Tuchel, I have to give credit where credit's due, because for me, like, he's done well. You know, that the transition to the back four was pretty good. And
The
he's
low block, he's done the low block defensive
to an elite level.
Yeah, he's shown it with like keeping these games consistent. 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
And the very limited stuff we have on the offensive potential, which I'll give him, because even in Germany he had as well, to be fair. So he's shown a capability to do it. But this is the difference between the two labs, and also why Conte, I don't fear this stupid Spurs lineup at all. Because for me,
he's not, for me, like, I'll say it because you're not going to say it.
What?
For me, he can't be an elite world-class coach.
I was getting there.
able to coach one system. He can't.
Okay, sure. I mean, sure. But yeah, like, he doesn't show the other alternative. So he can't be in that conversation. For me, it's legitimately, at least in the league right now, Pep and Tuchel are the only one at the level that we can compare right now. And yeah, I think from a growth perspective is that it's not to say that these coaches, Pep, Tuchel, and Arteta, haven't been outcoached before. It's not to say that they are perfect. But the one thing that it does show is their ceilings. And I think for the youngest coach out of all of them, by some significant margin, a level of growth is 100% expected, but also should be allocated by fans. So for me, I hear the criticisms, but I also, at the same token, hope that the praise is as loud as the criticism. Because for me, this game was just, it's phenomenal, mate. Like, to do it against the best two teams in the country, I don't think people are realizing how good this is, you know? And I think I can hear people that maybe can't wait until spring, because for me, I think that's the only logical naysayer for me. I'll be real, because if you didn't believe in Mikel, you're not going to believe after 2 games. And in fact, I chastise you for it, like, because you're switching opinions. Yeah, like, to be fair, if you need a season to commit, per se, I respect it. In fact, I kind of rate it.
Spring at the point is it's undeniable.
Yeah, and like, I don't agree with it, but like, fair, if that's
At
your
least you've done
opinion.
your due diligence at that point.
For sure. But the one thing is here, I think this is a comment from Tony in terms of, do you guys think the game yesterday was more about Liverpool being poor or us being good? I completely agree with Tony that what he said is the more important change, but I'll put it to you guys, because look, lads, after every big performance, every naysayer says the same shit. It's where like, oh, they were poor, you know. Do you guys think in these 2 City performances, this was City and Liverpool being poor, or was this Mikel being good?
Do you want to? Should we do this? Should we do this way, CK? You can take, which one do you want to take, Liverpool or City?
I think they're both similar because the
I
answer
know
is the
they're quite
same.
similar,
But yeah,
but
no,
you
speak
take
on both.
one.
Speak on both.
Okay, so
For
just
me-
speak
for
on
me-
Congress.
For me, obviously, it was us being good. Obviously, there was a bit of Liverpool being poor, which helped. Like there were things they could have done, which their coach didn't do, and which helped. Yeah, but I think we performed to a level across the whole pitch where you can't just say it was the other team being good. Because if it's the other team being good, then our players wouldn't perform to that level. Apart from maybe Ramsdale, everybody else performed consistently over a 50-minute or more period. Obviously, I was even more happy that Arteta at the end of the game does the Pep thing where he goes, obviously
Excellent
with
opponent.
Liverpool, they were it was an exact quote from Liverpool, from Pep, where after they absolutely destroyed Chelsea.
They are phenomenal
They
opposition.
were excellent. What do you mean, Pep? He goes, it's Chelsea. It's the exact thing.
Guys,
But yeah, that's the
I'm hoping this isn't David Luiz from last year. If you're an OG subscriber, you remember. But multiple reports have suggested that a breakthrough has happened with Vlahovic, and it looks like
From what are we talking on Twitter?
We're talking GC.
Hey,
So-
lads, if you guys are OG bot members, that David Luiz moment with Curran is quite possibly the funniest clip I've ever seen in my life, because you could see the blood drain from his face as he realizes, we got him, in quotes. But I think Curran's right. But I want to give you a chance to answer that little analytical question.
So
Is it opposition being bad, or is it Mikel being Mikel?
It's clearly not. It's clearly not. I mean, bring up the original comment because I want to answer this specific comment. So, look, if you want to talk about these two games, I would like to ask people, in this Pep era, how many times has a team gone and taken Pep 90 minutes and ragdolled him like we ragdolled him? Even at 10 men, there were times when we could have got the winner. It was clearly until that penalty, the game changed. But even then, we were holding our own. It was a complete performance, and if it was not for 5 minutes, and I know it's a hypothetical and it's bullshit, but we have to keep it real. It wasn't for that 5 minutes of madness. I think that's a narrative defining game to an even greater extent, because we just took the best team in the league, probably one of the best teams in Europe, 90 minutes, and threw them around the park quite clearly. And then if you come to this Liverpool game, if you're going to tell me that it's Liverpool being bad, then what the hell is Granit Xhaka? Granit Xhaka is quite clearly he's off the pitch. So that's 10 men. With 10 men, you are taking a team with arguably a midfield and defense that has won the Champions League and the Premier League. Yes, Henderson and Milner are a bit older.
Arguably, they won it.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of quality in that midfield, they have dropped off a level, is what I'm saying. Even if you say that, then the issue still is factually there. They had one of their strongest 11s I've seen in a while in this Carabao Cup. Alisson made his debut in the cup. Karen Klopp, as George's loves to put it, is scared. He is scared, and it's quite clear. He didn't put in what's his name, the other Kelleher, right? That's the backup keeper's name. He didn't put in Kelleher. He didn't put in Nico Williams. He didn't put in any of the other Nat Phillips or anyone else. He put in Van Dijk. He put in Matip, Robbo, Trent. He rushed players back, even though they just came after COVID. And what I'm looking for people to see is the response we've had to this Tottenham news. People are going to stop treating us like kids, and I am here for it.
Yeah, mate. I think that's a beautiful transition, mate. Because I think we should probably just talk about the postponing really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Because for me, I've been cooking journalists and rival fans on this, so I can't wait to do it. But the one impact
I went in myself.
Mate, I've taken on Bert and the athletic dude. who's the United correspondent, and he's conceded. So let's talk about rivals for a second, because I love their tiers. It's so great. But what this means for us going forward is Arsenal's back. The reaction to this postponement by journalists, the league.
I can't wait to watch Terrace later.
We're being feared again. That's what it is. And, injected completely. And you know what I'm tired of? The lack of critical thinking on journalists is absolutely astounding, because at the end of the day, the hypocrisy is there to see for absolutely everybody. At the end of the day, the Brentford situations and scenarios, about what we were told from a COVID situation to play on, it wasn't that bad, wipes the COVID arguments for tons of people. But then the most hypocritical part of absolutely all of this, which is beautiful, is Leicester, Burnley, Wolves, all allowed games to be postponed, not because of COVID, but because of unavailability of having 13 outfield players available. Arsenal have done the exact same precedent, and they're being chastised by the league, and no one is criticizing the Premier League for the ambiguity that they did when Arsenal are following the precedent that other teams did not a couple weeks ago. And I haven't even got to the Liverpool BS about the idea that you can have 10 false positives, which we've addressed previously. But the fact that people are crying when the other precedent has been there, and then when it's Arsenal that do it, there's a big uproar, is hilarious. And furthermore, the best part is people saying, just play the kids. Sorry, rivals, you idiots. We have the lowest mean average squad age of the entire Premier League. We've been doing that literally all season. So your idea of just play the kids is our kids. We play them. So stop with your hypocrisy. At the end of the day, the Premier League's been a shambles. They've been idiotic in terms of not being clear about the rules. But to sit there and say that Arsenal are taking advantage or that they're hypocritical is completely stupid, because at the end of the day, Arsenal are doing exactly what Leicester, Burnley, Wolves have done legitimately in the last month. So if you're going to sit there and critique Arsenal, you better be critiquing all those other players. And on top of that, if you're going to sit there and critique anybody, critique the Premier League. Don't sit there and come for Arsenal, because you just look foolish at the end of the day.
But
people thinking that it's hypocritical. I could not believe the debate. It factually is there. And also, sorry, Chris, it's in the EPL handbook, guys. The limit doesn't distinguish between COVID cases. So can we stop? Can we stop with this? It just factually doesn't. So stop sitting there insinuating that we've cheated. We've done no such thing. And if you believe that, where the hell is your energy for Leicester, Wolves, and Burnley? I'll wait. So yeah, I think it's just ridiculous. I want to give my little rant.
I think the reaction to a lot of things recently just speaks a lot to the change we've made this season.
We're a threat.
Or people from the start of the season, that when you finally get the rivals complaining, not at your reaction.
You've arrived.
Yeah, when you get the rivals on and off the pitch, so the players, the manager, and then their fans not speaking to us the same way they were last season. It's just a complete change to how we are. Obviously, the United thing is we've been there rather, because we both dwindled. But Chelsea and Liverpool and City, to a much bigger extent, have been little brother in Arsenal for a long time. And now they're on par, and talking to them and complaining that they're getting game postponed. It just speaks to the level.
But you know what's funny, mate? Like that 13 outfield rule, sorry, just to double check, that's not a new COVID introduction. You guys do realize that's a Premier League rule that's been there forever? It's part of the rules.
100%.
It's been there prior to CV.
All I'm going to say is, and well done for calling it CV. So
sorry.
No, well done. I said well done. But
no, I don't believe in that crap. It's COVID. So
anyway. So we're dealing with the menace that is George, but
guys, you had to get some of the energy, Kern, because I was deprived of my Spurs preview because of these absolute crybabies. So I got to bring the energy.
I do think.
What? I didn't realize that the preview might not be there tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but lads, sorry, we can't do the preview because I think
nothing to preview.
It'll be postponed. But we'll preview if it is going ahead of the FA cheat. Yeah, if the FA cheat and they force us to do it, then we'll absolutely come with the same energy.
The main thing for me is if I've heard it all. So first of all, it was it's only one COVID case. We've got injury crisis deal with the Liverpool dealt with it. So I'm just I'm just gonna put this straight. So Leicester and Everton, if you go on, I'm just gonna go. I have it on my Twitter. So you can if you go to my Twitter, you can see the article. It's front and center. The article clearly states, and this is from Everton themselves. It says Everton versus Leicester City postponed by Everton, and I'm going to quote it: due to CV-19 cases, injuries, and players on international duty at the African Cup of Nations. That's what it says. It doesn't say, it's only COVID cases. No, and the Premier League has approved this. The issue is, do you have enough senior players? And the answer is no. So stop with this bullshit energy. The precedent has been set. If you've set a precedent, stick to the precedent. Very clear. And I'm telling you, if you asked me and George this morning, we were talking about how we're going to come about this game. We were talking about putting Ben Way at DM. We were ready for this game. I wanted to do the preview and clown these.
I just want consistency from fans.
Yeah.
Like if you're a rival fan and you're going to sit there and complain about Arsenal, it isn't just CV. Explain to me why Burnley, who again, O'Malley, you're right, they only have 2, but the reason their game got called off was because of unavailability of players. It was from the 13 outfield members rule. The same rule, by the way, that caused Wolves and Arsenal to be like freaking Arsenal and Wolves' game got called off because of Wolves having that. They didn't have COVID. They were unavailable to play. So I want the same damn consistency that you're so pissed off at Arsenal about with both Wolves, Leicester, and Burnley, right?
Yeah.
So
we're not saying you, O'Malley, but my thing is, and I'm going to say this
we're not saying you. I'm just saying rival fans.
We're just saying rival fans. But
the anger, by the way, I'll just follow that up, Curran, to complete the thought, should be directed at the horridity of the situation from the Premier League.
The Premier League, FA Cup, and EFL Cup shouldn't have all these different rules.
All those different things. The anger should be at the authorities for the ambiguity and the naivety of understanding that COVID is the reality of our freaking situation, and they didn't do anything at the beginning of the season to do it. And so it's just ridiculous that, fans and journalists, what pisses me off about this is they've opened Pandora's box because of their handling, and then therefore rival fans are pissed off with rival people, which makes no sense when the true person is the FA. I've not seen one journalist say, shame on the FA for their handling of COVID this entire year. Not one. It's been off the back of postponements, and depending on their allegiance to teams, they support the outcome between both. And it's ridiculous.
I'm just going to make a couple of points. One, when Spurs, and go back to our streams about when we were having the Spurs United things, and we were, I don't think we were mad at them at all. Were we mad? We weren't mad at them at all.
I wanted to play this game.
We didn't care.
I think that they're worse off.
Like we don't care. I don't care if Spurs get, because at the end of the day, matches in hand is not guaranteed points, and you have to play those games anyway, and that causes fixture congestion. So I don't give a shit about Spurs or United. But the fact of the matter is people lack logic, and people lack the ability to for critical thinking. How is it that when you go from so I'll give you a prime example. Ainsley. People coming out, you put Ainsley on loan. So you're telling me that we were meant to foresee COVID cases?
Well, Burnley said Chris Wood.
Yeah, no, but this is the thing. We're meant to be goddamn Professor X and like foresee into the future and like understand what is.
Guys, I know that we've called a lot of predictions, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's
there's only so much black magic juju that we can share on this channel,
It's so ridiculous. Like we're not even allowed. We can't do transfers because what if you get a COVID outbreak?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know, lads, but I wanted to like throw the postponement. We'll obviously have the preview for you guys if it does go ahead tomorrow.
If it does go ahead, yeah.
We'll definitely come back and you'll get your promised land. But at the same token, I kind of wanted to bring it back to Liverpool and end kind of on the last thing. What you guys felt the game basically says, what it means for Arsenal and for this season. because I know when we said the Man City performance, that was like a door opening or a bookend or a bookshelf, whatever pejorative and analogy you want to insert there. It's the change point of the season. What do you guys feel that this performance does for this young team, essentially? And I'll go to Curran first. And
No, go to Chris first because I've got
Chris?
a couple of things to say. Go to Chris first.
Well, for me, it's just another performance that you can't deny. It's just these undeniable performances against teams at their best, the best teams at their best when we're not at our best, and then performing in these situations where you had this adversity with the red card on and off the pitch, like not having Tomiyasu yesterday and all this stuff, not having Partey, all this stuff, and then performing. For me, it just makes our claim to fame at the top a bit bigger and makes us a bit more undeniable against these top dogs, and it pisses them off that they don't destroy us, these 4-0, 5-0s, and then you can't talk to them. For the players, I think it was great. I love the Ben White hardman thing is continuing with him laughing at Minamino in his face straight after he missed that.
You posted it afterward. It was
that picture is incredible. Every week he has a picture like that.
He's such a shithouse. I freaking love it, man.
He needs his claim to fame. Ben White is I don't even think he posted it, but these pictures are incredible for him. I think obviously at the end of the game he was also like, let's fucking go, lads. And people
that's what we fucking do.
Yeah. So for him, that's great. This hard man mentality, this leader aura about him is improving in our team. And then Saka, this superstar aura. And I even posted a picture of him pointing like this, and it just blew up for no reason at all. But yeah, for me, it just confirms the narratives and like these things about our players for them as well as us as a team. And yeah, I think for the young players, it will just continue to boost them and assert them because they're becoming undeniable. Because before it was these prospects, they're on a run of form. Can they continue this? Now we're 20 games into the season, semi-final of a Carabao Cup. If you win it, no one can say anything. It's not a prospect thing anymore. These guys are actually very, very good.
Yeah, mate. All really good points. And I think that people. We're in the podcast game, so at the end of the day, we always try to do sweeping conclusions after every single match, and it's tough to do. But I really think that these are door-opening moments. It's very rare that we get these in a season, and we get these in a club's development. So I mean, Curran, like, what about for you? Same kind of question. Like, where does this put us?
First things first, I was very, very wrong about this Carabao Cup. If you go back to the Sunderland preview, I was very much thinking about fixture congestion and what are these 2 games going to do for our season, and we've got the Spurs game, and I was very, very down on it. And what it's done is actually set the tone for the rest of the season. And I will hold my hands up. This isn't a current stroke your ego podcast. This is, if you got stuff wrong, you hold your hands up and you go, fair enough, I got it wrong. And I did get it wrong. I got it very wrong. And I'm proud of our guys. Someone mentioned about that we missed a Tierney section. Yeah, I think
Kieran, we had it back earlier.
He was incredible. And the main thing I want to say is me and George and CKZ, Willow, we've all talked about in the past about how a 3-man block is very, very difficult to sustain. And in the middle of the park, especially because most teams play with a 4-3-3 block, and it's easy to get overrun in wide areas. What this performance showed was that you can have a 3-man block and keep your central compactness, as well as dominate in terms of funneling the ball to where you want it to be funneled, and that has to be commended from Mikel, because Mikel made that change. Mikel decided that he wasn't going to go basic. He wasn't a basic bitch. He was going to go 5-3-1, and he was going to make sure that no one got past that back line. He did that. And that was a major coaching moment for him, as George mentioned earlier. I want to mention about his subs, the timing, the confidence to say, oh, wait, I want Nuno, and then think, hang on a second, no, calm down. Put Nuno. Wait for him to come. Wait, he can come on later. We don't need him right now. This is what I want to do. So I just really want to make this a very much a case of the Carabao Cup has really defined what this team is, and I'm so happy to be proven wrong on this. I'm so happy because I was scared. I was very scared about what this cup could mean for our season. I was scared about injuries. I was scared about AFCON, and it's proven me wrong. It's proven me very, very wrong.
I don't know, mate. I don't think it's necessarily wrong because we had concerns about congestion.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're
But the
looking
concern,
at
the concern that turned out to be wrong.
So, I mean,
yeah,
I think the team rose to the occasion.
Yes,
I think
very much so.
I think that's fair. But we had congestion issues.
Yeah, we did. But my thing is,
it was you guys being wrong.
It was not. I'm not taking that because we had to essentially take backup strikers, and we've been struggling to put in the midfield. So it was 100% correct to fear about fixture congestion. But the squad rose to the occasion.
My thing is, I'm more than okay to admit when my opinion has changed, and from the evidence that has been shown, it feels like this team needed the semi-final just to give that sort of defining performance, not only for the players but Mikel as well. And because there was a lot of narrative after City, it was, it's Stuyvenberg hour, and we've got AirPod Man, and he's the guy, and we don't even need Mikel.
What I do think is our United claims. This is what I think was kind of wrong. Was we all felt that there was going to be a tide where everyone recognized this team for what we saw from the summer, and we all felt that United would be that narrative win. I think City became that narrative win for a lot of people. I think to follow it up with the performance that we've done at Anfield is something special because you do it at a semi-final. But the only thing that I would argue is we've done that before. Like Mikel did that in his first year. Like we've shown that ability to do that in domestic cup competition. The squad has shown an ability to sit down in tough moments and eke out results. We've been doing that. His first year, we had a way better record against the top six. We've shown that. The thing was consistency. You know what I mean? And in terms of looking at, fitness concerns, we've never been flat, but we also haven't had a season of this type of fixtures, mate. Like, look at what happened even at Anfield now. This is the first real time that we've been 3 games a week, by the way, in 10 games, and look at the effect it had on the players. We can't sustain that.
There's just no way.
So I don't think it was right. Congestion was a real thing. Like, if we were to play this season with Europe at the same intensity, we wouldn't have got the consistency that we got.
We'd be around 7th or 8th right now. We'd be in United territory.
We would. But the one thing that we have shown is we've been able to pair that consistency with outcome results against top 3 players, which together hasn't happened, right? Last season, it was paired with really great moments against phenomenal teams, but no consistency outside the top 10. This year, we've got the consistency outside the top 10, but we've also been able to show in very tough environments us excel. And that myriad of the two is just a good team. Very simple. No one else is needed. It's a top 4 team. It's something that we all saw in the summer, but I think it's something that everyone's very quickly realizing now. And they're scrambling to find reasons as to why Arsenal have arrived there, which pisses me off.
Yeah.
But,
it's everyone else's fault. Everyone is bad. We are just not good. It's just everyone else's bad. Look, I'm gonna go on a rant about it. But my whole thing is I feel like this is something that we can look at, and we'll look back in about 2-3 years and think, hang on a second, this is one of those performances that defined and kind of pushed on the season. Because getting through, if we do get through the semi-final and we get to Wembley with this team, I have every faith in Mikel, and I have every faith in this team to produce a performance worthy of that competition. I feel like Chelsea are also going to be in the, isn't it World Cup, Club World Cup before then, or
Club World Cup? So our game versus them is postponed.
Isn't it like, because the final is February 27th, if I'm not mistaken?
It's postponed. We have a very easy February now.
Oh, lovely.
We have 2 games in Feb.
Look, and it's just my whole thing is I just don't want this to be I would just brush it aside. It was good for one game, and this is a lot of narratives, as we've all mentioned, have been completely destroyed. And
You know what it is though, Curran, mate? Like we're looking at narratives, we're looking at things, but I think something that we've all said is top four is not a single metric. There's
No.
not a single metric that you're going to use to explain why a team has achieved top four. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's consistency. Even when you start to say, like, has this team been able to respond in adversity? Well, duh, of course it has. But, we've done it twice in the last 2 weeks. In fact, it's not even just going down, but red cards, I'd argue, are even worse than going a goal down. But, we've shown an ability to do that, but can we do that consistently? We're showing we can. Are we able to beat those teams outside the top 10? We've shown that we can in moments, but are we consistently doing it? We are now. And so I think consistency of outcome is the only way that's going to benefit. But I think Mikel just got huge points the turn of the year because the players have always been invested and bought in, right? But I can tell you as a player, nothing is like beating the big boys. You can believe in a process as much as you want, but nothing means more than beating people that you perceive to be better than you. And so that's what the benefit mentally this does. And by the way, you did it home and away. There isn't a mental block left, guys, in this team. We've shown in the toughest away ground we have the mettle to rise away from home.
And we silenced them. Let's be real.
Mate, I wanted to end just lastly on the fans. Like, they were unbelievable. I don't know about you guys, but through my screen, they drowned out the supposed atmosphere of Anfield and you never walk alone. Well, you do when you're down, apparently, because I couldn't really hear them walking together with the team. All I heard were Arsenal fans. So it was like,
I heard them in the last 4 minutes when Van Dijk got pushed up the pitch.
So I guess it must take a 6'4" man to go to the edge of the opposition box before you can walk truly alone. But it's just it was phenomenal, mate. Like the whole team and the whole fan base is really united, and I just see that message. Look, Mikel said it at the beginning of the year: unity, and I think it's just phenomenal. So
yeah, what we're gonna do is I'm going to do final thoughts, CK will do final thoughts, George will do final thoughts, and what we'll do is, because it'll be cool, is we'll do our Twitter handles and then George can go into his robot thing when he finishes, so we don't have to do the whole round up again and give him a bit of an easy time. So first of all, every member on that pitch, whether you were substituted on, whether you started, apart from obviously Granite, because Jesus Christ, you deserve to hold your heads up high, and they did. And if you look at from the fullbacks of Callum and Kieran pressing hard, understanding what it means to go one-on-one in duels, understanding where the positioning needed to be so they didn't get crosses off, to that back three of Gabriel, Holding and White, understanding where their positioning was, keeping that backline compact, making sure that they tracked runners, making sure that they didn't get caught out of position. To Lukonga, who started off shaky and then came through the game, making okay, thanks Sam, Jesus Christ, making sure that Jesus Christ, I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna get him later. Sam, you are dead meat later, I swear to, okay. From Lukonga winning his duels and actually making sure that he held his role in that six very, very well. And then the interiors, like Saka and Martinelli were interiors, guys. They were outlets, they were interiors, they were winning their duels. You see Martinelli shoving a man down on the floor and just running past with the ball. Like they have that ability and they have that desire to want to get on the ball, make things happen, win, desired unity, and really, really keep going. And then even Lacazette was, he was there. He was in Nketiah's ear when he had to go off. He was there leading the pack. And I just want to say to every single fan, because we were in our group chat and literally everyone was going mental. Everyone was on edge for every second. So it was a magical evening, I feel, and it was a really good game. And
I cannot wait for that second leg. I cannot wait. And
It's going to be fun. I think we get
keep
that
crying,
W
people.
that, people are crying for. But
I will sign off. My name's Karen. I'm at Current BoP, and I will pass off to Chris for his final thoughts.
Go on, sir.
Yeah, simply put, we're the best team in the world. Yeah, what we did very well against Liverpool. We did very well against City. I think the players are getting the recognition they deserve and getting these narratives put on them that they've deserved for a long time. I think our claim to fame as a team and as like an institution has changed, and we're now recognized in all aspects, narrative, fan noise, even the statistics as a top 4 team, the 4th best in England. So yeah, for me, it's very positive, and the performance just speaks to the variation and versatility of the team from top to bottom, from manager to bench players. Is very good that the players are feeling this as well as the fans, and the fans have proved, even the fans themselves have changed the narratives for themselves, like consistently with us being the library, the Emirates being called the library, that's changed as well. So for me, it's just about changing precedent and maturity, because I think that's arguably our most mature performance of the season. And yeah, well, I really hope we could have played Spurs just to smash them. But we'll play Liverpool next week, and we'll do that at the Emirates as well.
Where can they find you?
Oh yeah, Pure CKK on Twitter.
Yeah, lads. And look, review-wise, I think I'm peddling the same book. We've kind of said it all in this podcast, so I'm not going to do too much there. The one thing that I'll use for my section of a review is just a thank you to all those subscribers out there. I'll really transition it to kind of the like, comment, subscribe. You can find us at BOP Footy on Twitter, but just a big thank you to you guys, the subscribers. The engagement that we've been getting, lads, like even in that transfer kind of space session that we call it, the BoP spaces, it's been absolutely phenomenal. We've tried to up some of the visuals, the thumbnails. I hope you guys appreciate some of the upgrades. Chris has been phenomenal in that. And additionally, we've got some more stuff planned. We've got a little bit of a color upgrade. BoP is going to be upgraded visually. We're going to upgrade tactically. We're going to upgrade with members, and we can't do that until you guys subscribe. You increase that to 1K. It'll mean the world to us. So I'm just going to say thank you, everything. And why is brown pep fat? I don't know. I don't know that question. But anyways, big up the support. It is mad humbling, man. And I mean it. I truly do. I can't believe that there's people that are, essentially tuning into a lad from Canada and people from South London. It's just absolute insanity.
Well, Current isn't from South London, but
I am from South, bro.
We'll do the geography lesson later. But yeah, honestly, serious. Thanks so much. I upgraded the white background for you guys. Hopefully we got more of this stuff and I can actually do some tactics. But remember, that only comes with member stuff. So yeah, we've got some stuff to do. Thank you so much. I hope that, we're back tomorrow. I'll be honest, so I can preview the game for you so you can have some more smoke, because you guys all love the smoke. But if not, we'll definitely be next week. Maybe we'll sneak in a little bit of another transfer space. How about that? If we don't get Spurs, we will sneak in some transfer spaces for you maybe on Monday. We'll do something.
We'll do something.
You guys in the comments, let us know if there's something that you would like, maybe a loan pod specifically or something else. But yeah, lads, thank you so much. We're going to sign off, and we'll see you kind of on the next video.